Good morning. My name is Julie Orman. I serve as the Vice President of the Congregational Council here. In 2008, when my husband and I were engaged to be married, we had yet to find a church home together. We started attending Gloria Dei. He grew up Catholic. I grew up in a variety of churches around the Midwest. And we started going here regularly, and we loved it. We eventually joined before our eldest, now 12, was born. We loved that there were noisy kids in all the services. We loved that there were families here with grandparents. We used to joke that we were always at the baptism service that weekend because there was surely one, and we always seemed to pick the longer one. Congratulations, by the way. She was a joy to watch. She smiled and kicked her legs the whole time. We felt a vibrancy here at Gloria Dei right away. We loved that people said hello. We loved that they remembered our names. And we loved the music too. In early 2018, I began to serve on a committee that would eventually become the consensus building and communications team for Riso Church. That then led into the celebrations committee, or the party planning committee, as I like to refer to it. And since we officially dedicated the sanctuary in January, we have celebrated in so many ways. This year's stewardship theme, How Can I Keep From Singing, feels like an invitation to me to reflect on the incredible events that we've been able to host here in our newly renovated space. Riso Church has its foundations built on 4 pillars: liturgical values, community outreach, welcoming to all, and joy of music. I'll admit that I had to refer back to an old email to make sure that I got all 4 right. First was liturgical values. Meaningful and relevant worship is a key ingredient to remaining a vibrant, dynamic, and mission-minded congregation. Our physical space, right here, the chancel and the pulpit, now more a part of the conversation. A space that better supports our worship as we prepare ourselves to be sent into our neighborhoods and into the world each week. Second, to be welcoming to all. Our revitalized space makes more equitable and full participation in worship more possible for more people. The most elegant piece of this to me is access to the chancel without having to go up these steps. My grandmother, a teacher, a very dedicated member of the choir at her church, and also a survivor of polio, would have given us an A+ for that, because it became very hard in her later years to sing with her choir because there was no ramp. Our flexible space allows us to use this room not only for worship, but as a venue for other events for our community. Community outreach flows directly from having a welcoming and accessible space. We can better invite the community in now. Maybe I'm not supposed to have favorites of all the events that we did, but having Kalia Yang come for a book reading and author's talk was a really exciting day for me. Kalia is a St. Paul-based Hmong American author. She has written extensively, both in children's books and books for grown-ups, about her experience in wartime, in a refugee camp, and her family's journey to a home that they didn't know and couldn't imagine right here in St. Paul. She spoke gently and wisely, and she answered questions thoughtfully, especially those from the youngest members in the audience that night. She's our neighbor. She brought her wisdom and her story here for an interfaith, intercultural, and intergenerational night. This is the part where I was going to say I've now finally returned my library book that Kalia wrote, so you can all go check it out, but alas, it's still on my nightstand. I apologize. I was too embarrassed to share that at 8:15, but now you all know. The last pillar, the joy of music. A Swedish choir, organ recitals every Friday in June. We have newly commissioned organ music just for Riso Church. Plenty of space for the brass and the choirs at Easter. And of course, hearing Tim and today Melanie, thank you Melanie, play on this incredible and massive instrument. The interest of groups wanting to perform here is growing quickly, and that's really exciting. There are details in this room that many of us won't ever know about, but there is one that I know about that I'm going to share, and I'm betting that many of you know about it too. But the windows, the glass panels at the back, are actually angled just a bit so that when we hear music and sound, we experience it in a more dynamic and beautiful way. These 4 pillars are all rooted in Christ in love. You all made Riso Church possible. I'm really excited to see where our church life is going. I'm proud to be a part of this congregation with you all. The community and this church is the living example of the values that I hold dear. Now, as we look to our annual fall stewardship campaign and think about how we want to make our annual financial commitments to Gloria Dei in 2024, I ask you to reflect on what sings to you. What sings to you about our community here? Generosity is what fuels all of the mission and action here. And thank you for making it all possible.